The Carolina Panthers aren't acting like a team coming off a collapse. They're acting like a team that knows something the rest of the league doesn't. While everyone was too busy mocking their wide receiver room or giving them a middle-of-the-road offseason grade, the Panthers were building, quietly, deliberately. And now, with training camp around the corner, it feels like they're about to surprise people who haven't been paying close attention. The buzz inside that locker room isn't hope, it's confidence. And it's starting to spread. Look at the changes. Bryce Young has a brand new cast around him, and this one actually fits. Teteroa McMillan walks in with WR1 traits. Xavier Legette looks sharper than ever. Rico Dowdle brings a burst that this backfield hasn't had in years. And the O-line? Stronger, deeper, more aggressive. You can feel the difference. It's not just about new names, it's about a new identity. The offense finally has weapons that match the quarterback's rhythm. And with a coaching staff that stopped pretending and started building for real, things are lining up in a way they never did last year. But here's where it gets interesting. The national media still has them ranked near the bottom. ESPN gave them a C for their offseason. That's not just wrong, it's lazy. Because if you actually look at what Carolina has been doing, especially at wide receiver, this unit could go from overlooked to overloaded real fast. Next, we'll break down how the Panthers quietly built one of the most competitive WR rooms in the entire NFC, and why no one's ready for it. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Panthers and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 350 likes on this video. Nobody's talking about this wide receiver room like they should, and that's the part that should scare every defense in the NFC. Carolina didn't just add bodies this offseason, they added weapons. Teteroa McMillan, the rookie first-rounder, already looks like a day-one starter. He's 6'4", polished, and plays like he's been in the league for years. Then you've got Xavier Legette, coming off a year where he flashed big playability and now looks even more explosive after a full offseason with Bryce. Add in Jalen Coker, a second-year guy who quietly led the team in separation stats last season. This group isn't raw, it's loaded. Now throw in the veterans. Adam Thielen might not trend on Twitter, but he's the glue. Route precision, third down reliability, red zone presence, he's still giving defenses problems. Then there's Hunter Renfrow, who knows how to win underneath and gives the Panthers a consistent slot threat. And don't forget Jimmy Horn Jr., who's flying under the radar but could carve out a specialty role with his speed. Together, this isn't just a hope it works receiving corps, it's a matchup nightmare. Different sizes, speeds, and styles. And more importantly, they complement each other instead of stepping on the same turf. So why did ESPN rank this group 31st in the league? Because they're stuck on names, not production. They're grading based on last year's headlines instead of this year's potential. But here's what they missed. This group is deeper, faster, and better coached. And what really makes it dangerous? The answer isn't just in their stats or highlights. It's in the chemistry they're building behind the scenes. Because raw talent might give you a highlight reel, but chemistry gives you wins. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Talent gets you drafted. Chemistry gets you paid. That's the difference in Carolina right now. Everyone's talking about the receiver show big, how fast, how polished, but none of it means anything if they're not in sync with Bryce Young, and that's the challenge for Teteroa McMillan. As good as he looks on paper, he's a rookie. He hasn't gone through live NFL speed, he hasn't caught passes under pressure in a 2-minute drill with the game on the line. Meanwhile, guys like Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker already know how Bryce moves, how he reads coverage, how he extends plays. That experience matters more than any 40 time. The good news? Bryce is all in on building that chemistry. He spent time this offseason training with his receivers in the field and off. And even Adam Thielen, heading into year 2 with Bryce, looks more in rhythm than he did at any point last season. That kind of repetition can't be faked. It's timing, trust, and instinct, and it shows up in those tight third down windows or red zone throws where a half step decides everything. McMillan is working to close that gap, but he's playing catch-up in a room full of players who already speak Bryce's language. So here's the tension. The rookie with the highest ceiling is the one who might take the longest to click, and the guys already building that connection might be the ones who open the season as starters. That dynamic is going to shape every snap of training camp. But the most important piece in all of this? The guy throwing the passes. Because if Bryce takes a leap, everything else will follow. And that's exactly where this story goes next. Last year was a storm. Bryce Young walked into a broken offense, played behind a shaky line, and got thrown into a system that didn't fit his strengths. But here's the thing. He survived it. And now he's walking into a different situation entirely. The personnel fits, the scheme is tailored, and the pressure? Still there, but now he's got the tools to handle it. This isn't the rookie version of Bryce anymore, it's the upgraded one. Sharper reads, quicker feet, and a louder voice in the huddle. Carolina didn't build around Bryce by accident. They built around what he actually needs. You can see it in the structure of this offense. Bryce isn't being asked to carry chaos, he's being asked to operate within a design. He's got a real checkdown outlet in Rico Dowdle. He's got tall targets on the outside. He's got spacing, layers, and mismatches to work with. And for the first time in his pro career, he's getting protection that actually lets plays develop. That matters for a quarterback who made his name with patience and accuracy, not panic and scrambling. He doesn't need to be a magician. He just needs to be Bryce. And that version of him is starting to show again. But here's where everything tightens. The offense can only rise as far as Bryce takes it. The pieces are in place, but the execution starts at QB1. If Bryce levels up, this unit goes from unpredictable to dangerous. And if that happens, Carolina won't just move the chains, they'll control the game. But even a great offense can't win on its own. It needs a defense that holds the line. And what's happening in the trenches right now? That might be Carolina's biggest under-the-radar upgrade yet. Last season, the Panthers' defense got pushed around. They gave up over 3,000 rushing yards and couldn't get stops when it mattered most. That wasn't a scheme problem, it was a front seven issue. So the front office fixed it. Fast. Now the interior of this line looks like a completely different unit. Derrick Brown is back and healthy, and when he's right, he's a double-team magnet. Next to him is Bobby Brown, fresh off a strong run-stuffing season with the Rams. Together they give Carolina the kind of interior muscle that collapses pockets and forces quarterbacks into bad decisions. But it's not just about the middle. This team got creative off the edge too. They brought in DJ Wonnum from Minnesota and added Patrick Jones to round out a deeper rotation. Neither are headline names, but both can get pressure and set an edge. And then there's Tershawn Wharton, a wild card signing from Kansas City, who brings disruption from the inside. ESPN called that deal an overpay. What they didn't consider was how different Wharton looks when he's not surrounded by rookies but by veterans like Derrick Brown, who can take the heat off him. That's not just a bounce-back candidate, that's a breakout setup. All this trench building wasn't cosmetic, it was intentional. Because last year, when this team lost, it often started up front. They couldn't win first down, they couldn't stop short yardage, and it crushed their momentum. Now, they've got a unit built to win in the mud, and if they can own the line of scrimmage, it gives the back end of the defense a chance to reset. But one piece was still missing. One tone setter who could clean things up behind the front line. That player just arrived and he might be the most important signing no one's talking about. This defense needed more than toughness. It needed someone who could lead with impact, not just effort. And that's exactly what Trevon Moehrig brings. After 4 seasons starting for the Raiders, he arrives in Carolina with something the safety room lacked all last year: reliability. He's not flashy, but he's physical. He reads plays fast, closes even faster, and rarely misses tackles. His 87.5 run defense grade last season wasn't just top tier, it was top 6 among all NFL safeties. In a unit that gave up chunk plays and missed assignments far too often, Moehrig becomes the stabilizer. If you're still sleeping on the Carolina Panthers, now might be your last chance to wake up. This isn't last year's team. From top to bottom, they've rebuilt something real, something sharp, fast, and ready to prove people wrong. And if this offseason means anything, they're not just chasing improvement. They're coming for impact. Now I want to hear from you. What grade would you give the Panthers offseason? Who's your breakout pick? Drop your answers in the comments. I'm reading every single one. If you're riding with this Panthers rebuild, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Because if this team keeps trending the way it's been, a whole lot of people are about to be real quiet by mid-season.